Everyone. Okay, firstly, I'd like to say good morning and welcome to the University of the Bahamas here at the Franklin Wilson Auditorium. We are delighted and grateful to have you take your time to join us as the Emerging Leaders Distinguished Lecture Series. I'd like to firstly acknowledge our President and CEO, Dr. Eric Rollin, up front, our Vice President of Institutional and Advancement, Dr. Dino Hernandez, Office of Corporate and Foundation Relations, Executive Director Candice Eldon, my apologies, and CFR Manager Inga Botswick. Also from the Royal Bank of Canada, the executive leadership, along with Ms. LaSonia Mizik, our guest lecturer, including Ms. Tanya Hutchinson, Assistant Marketing Manager, who has greatly assisted in the execution of this lecture. To our faculty, staff, and fellow students, I welcome you to this auspicious occasion. Today's lecture and lunch promises to be an informative yet an emerging session to share knowledge and building network between budding student leaders here at the University of the Bahamas and our community partners. We are indeed thankful for the opportunity to partner with RBC, who have expressed and displayed their willingness to partner with us at the University of the Bahamas for student growth and learning. I encourage you to fulfill and immerse yourselves in today's session, and encourage you to fully prepare and interact with our speaker on today's subject, the changing environment for entrepreneurs in today's world. To all again, I welcome you, and I will now invite Mrs. Deidre Moss with the opening prayer and Ashley Knowles, our Director of Greek Life and Student Leadership, following his remarks. Once again, thank you and welcome to all.
Good morning, everyone. Can we bow our heads, please? Most gracious and everlasting Father, thank you so much for allowing us to gather here today. I pray that as we are here gathered, that we would gain the knowledge and the insight that we are here to receive in terms of our finances in this changing environment in today's world. I pray, Father God, that you would bless all of those who will participate in this event today, those who are here, who are a part of the program, and who are a part of this event in any way, and those who have come here today as well to receive this knowledge and receive insight. Bless those who put the program together, our guest speakers, the various organizations that have come together to bring, to make this event possible. I pray, Father God, that this event would be successful, that it would be powerful and impactful. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm really excited, if you can't already tell, but I'm so grateful for all of you who have decided to attend, especially on a Friday, because you could be doing anything else. You could be getting ready for your happy hour, but you are here. And so we're really grateful and thankful that you are here. And I'm really excited to see our students. Let's give a round of applause to all the students that are here. All right? And usually Friday is coined as our kind of slow day. You know, most classes are Monday through Thursday. And so a lot of students aren't, as active on a Friday. But I thought it's a good idea to actually come on Friday, because most likely you'll get more persons to say, hey, I don't have class, let me see if I can attend. And so we're really grateful that all of you are here. And we're grateful to have RBC connecting with us here at the university, who has been one of our long-standing partners. And I think it's because they value not only education, but development of our students. And we know that for us, we can't do it without our public partners. We can't do without those connections that we build. And it's not just about funding, but it's also about connection and growth and development together and networking. And so I'm thankful for them. I'm thankful that they're willing to do this with us again. And we're excited to continue to do more things. And please look out for some other things that you'll be seeing coming out within the next couple of weeks. And so some exciting things are going to be happening for students. And also there's lunch prepared after today's lecture. And so please join us over at the at the Choices restaurant for lunch. And so again, enjoy today's session. We also have a Q&A part in here. So if you have questions, I want you to ask our lecturer. She'll be our lecturer, she'll be our teacher for today. So if there's anything that she says that, kind of sparks your imagination or your thoughts or something that you'd like to know more about, please write it down and prepare to ask some questions so that she can answer those questions for you. But again, thank you all for being here and welcome.
Good morning. It is an honor to present to you our lecturer for this morning. Ms. Lasonia A. Missick is the Managing Director and Vice President of Personal Banking and FinCo for RBC Royal Bank Bahamas and Turks and Caicos Islands. The Managing Director is the face of the bank and leader responsible for all governance and regulatory matters. In her dual role as Vice President of Personal Banking, she is responsible for leading the 11 RBC branches here in the Bahamas and in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Ms. Lasonia has led this group of branches for over the past 5 years, focusing on developing an excellent banking experience to our clients while also helping to achieve the bank's business performance goals. Ms. Lasonia has 27 years of banking experience. Among her previous roles, she was the Director of Human Resources for Scotiabank Northern Caribbean, responsible for HR governance, people strategy, and leadership and development across 4 countries. She has a depth of retail banking knowledge, having held positions such as Senior Branch Manager for Scotiabank's largest retail operation in the Bahamas. Not to mention, she was the first female to hold this position. And now also the first female to hold the position of Managing Director for RBC Royal Bank Bahamas Limited. Latoya started her banking career as a part-time teller in 1994. She progressed through more senior positions, including Personal Banking Officer, Assistant Manager Personal Banking, Assistant Manager Small Businesses, Manager Personal Banking, and multiple branch manager roles prior to her cross-functional leadership assignment in human resources. Ms. Latoya's proven success in leadership, sales management, and her exemplary record of people development has given her a unique business perspective. As a bank executive, she has been responsible for implementing strategic initiatives, building high employee engagement, and bringing life to the vision of digital enablement as the future of banking for Bahamians. Ms. Lasonia has a Master's of Business Administration from the University of Liverpool and a Master's Certificate in Sales Leadership from Schoolage School of Business, York University. Ms. Lasonia is also a member of the Chartered Management Institute. She is a director on the board of RBC Royal Bank, RBC FinCo, Safeguard Insurance, and the former chair of the Bahamas Automated Clearinghouse and the Bahamas Clearing Bank Association. Ms. Lasonia is a passionate and accomplished banker. She is married to Bruce, 20 beautiful years, and together they have 2 splendid children, Trinard, a university graduate, and Amara, who is a junior in her year of high school. Please give our lecturer for this morning a round of applause as she takes the podium.
Thank you, Antronique. I do want to clarify a couple of things before we get started. Back in 1994, they hired you in the bank after grade 6. That's no longer the case. And I'm going to have to ask my EA to take these dates out of the next update. Because that 27 years, I felt a blow. But it's a pleasure to be here, everybody, and thank you so much for spending some time with me today. And so I want to welcome all of you. Now, my approach, just so that this is probably going to be the first and last few minutes that you're going to see me here at the podium, because my approach is to have a very engaging and interactive session with you. And I know we have a Q&A at the end, but if you have a question, and as we're having discussions, and as I'm asking you questions, and you're asking me questions, then I certainly would like for us to do it that way as well. All right, so to get us started, I know that we're all busy and so much is going on around us in the world, and so what I'd like for us to do is to actually just take 30 seconds to close our eyes and to just think about those things that you were thinking about when you came in. Because you probably had about 10 to 15 things on your mind that you have to do or had to do or didn't do because you were caught up. So I want you to take about 30 seconds and think about those things. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do that. I need to count. I don't have my phone. Okay, Tanya's going to do it for me. And just close your eyes and think about nothing else about those things that was on your mind. And my eyes are open so I could see if you're actually doing this. Okay, keep your eyes closed and take another 30 seconds. Force yourself, not 30, let's go 15, to think about nothing. Blank, nothing. Absolute silence. Peaceful, blissful, beautiful. The only 15 seconds that you will not think about nothing. 4, 3, and don't open your eyes. 2, 1. And all I want you to do now is to just breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. I can make you do that. And there we go. All right. So let's focus. Great. How are you feeling? You sure? Good? Okay, good. So we're going to do one last activity, and that activity will help me as we go through our session today. So if I start with Tanya, and Tanya is 1, you're 2, 3. Okay, remember your number. All right? So I guess we'll start here. Are you guys participating? All right, cool. All right, so we'll start here, and then we'll just go 1, 2, 3, and remember your number for me, okay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, sorry. Only in threes. Only in threes. No problem. 1, 2, 3. 2. Candace is 2. 3. All right, we go this way. Maybe we have to start at this end.
Yeah.
2,
3,
1.
2,
3,
1, 2,
Remember your number.
2,
Okay, let's start here.
1,
2, 3, 4.
No. 1. And then we start, young lady in the gray. 1.
1, 2, 3, 2.
3, 1, 1. Oh, sorry, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, you're 1 again. You're 2, eh? Yeah, 3. Okay, so now you're my only 4. Or you can stay as 1. So the purpose of that exercise is that, first of all, I'm the oldest of 3, and I've been brought up that the oldest is always in charge. So I was the first one. So number 1 is in charge. Okay? So number 1 is going to make sure that a couple of things happen. If I have to call on 1, I'll call on 1 to say, can you give the answer for your group? Or can you assign somebody in your group to give that answer? Or what do they think, right? So number 1 will have the opportunity to gather everybody together or appoint somebody to answer a question. No hard questions, I promise, right? Okay, so we're going to get started with 1 right now, right? For the most part, most of you are sitting with 1, 2, 3, so it should be okay. Can you tell me a little bit about what's your goal for this session? Why are you here? And if you don't have a goal, why are you here? What's your goal for this session? And I'm not going to hear from everybody, but I want you to think about that for a minute. I heard Ashley say, coming out on a Friday, right? The last day of the week. So, who's number 1 over here?
Oh, they say number 1 supposed to
No, number 1 don't have to answer. Who's number 1? Whoever is number 1, I'm going to ask you to, either you can answer or you can give an answer or ask somebody who's number 2 or 3 in your group to answer. What are your goals for this session? Why did you come? Why did that flyer intrigue you? Who's one? You're one. Who's? You could sit. You can be as comfortable as you want.
Well, aside from working with the department as an emerging leader, I felt fit to attend because knowledge is something that you gain on a daily basis. And why not? And it's free. Some
Yes.
people are paying for the information we will receive today.
Absolutely. Good stuff.
There you go, one.
So one is ready to get information. All right, let me go to my ones up here. Who's one? You're two. All right, do you want to answer or do you want someone from your group to answer? You'll answer. These ones are, you notice how these ones are? These ones are real leaders. They're taking charge. Well, then you could delegate as a good leader too.
Yeah, so I saw the topic. It said entrepreneurs, and I really want to be an entrepreneur.
All right.
You said it's a changing environment. I would really like to know how it's changing, and you have a
Absolutely.
major that I want to pursue. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Good for you. Well, I hope we get to fulfill some of those expectations for you today. Scared of coming to you, eh? Do we have a one in the back here? One more. All right.
Well, personally, my friend invited me. She's working with them, and I feel like knowledge is always something you should take advantage of. So
Absolutely.
it's an opportunity.
Right.
Even say yes.
Good stuff. Okay, thanks so much, guys. Let's give a round of applause to those our folks who chose to share.
I would be remiss if I didn't speak for my siblings. Ms. Henfield and
This
Mr.
is your.
Rollin.
Okay, okay.
My siblings. Mr. Rollin wants to know more about the banking industry, seeing
Yes.
that he's more of an outsider, so he's looking to gain more information here.
Yes.
Henfield came open-minded, ready to learn.
Oh, ready to embrace.
And myself, being in the financial sector, I'm willing to see which more different avenues that I can learn about.
Yes.
Venture for my future.
Yeah.
Trying to gain trust. I want to see what options are there for me.
Okay, good stuff. All right, thank you. All right. So I don't know if we will need a break today because this is a relatively short lecture, but definitely if we need a break, you can let me know and we'll take a few minutes and then we can reconvene, okay? So what I'd like to do is to go over what we will be talking about today. And it's across 3 segments: the changing environment, so factors shaping entrepreneurship today. I can tell you technology changes so quickly and things change so quickly. I put this PowerPoint together, and when you look like there's probably about 10 to 15 other things that's happened. And so it's a continual process. And then from understanding the changing environment, our goal is to talk a little bit about what capabilities should I have. Now, there's a lot of different ways that we can navigate, and there's so many different leadership capabilities. But I'm interested in us kind of picking out the 2 or 3. I always believe that if you start to get into too much, what are the 2 or 3 that you believe will work for you? And I'll share with you some that I know has worked for me and continues to work for me, right? And then we'll have a little bit of some videos on best principles of great leaders, etc. So I hope you will enjoy as we go through this session today. All right, so now I know what the image in the bottom corner is. Do you?
Yes.
All right, so by show of hands, how many of you actually used it? Because 1, 2, 3, right, and I figured that. Oh, I'm sorry, it's the little computer, the desktop and the computer. Yeah? 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 Okay, more than I thought, because I wasn't certain if you actually used this or because of your age and your youth, you actually had a laptop. What did you have, for those who didn't raise their hands? When you started touching technology and touching a device, what did you have? If it wasn't that little thing in the corner. iPad?
Yeah,
Oh. What did you have? What was the first device that you touched?
I said that.
You did? Anybody else had something different? No? Okay. So this is what it was before, and this is what it is now. And I want to go here because this gives a lot of context in terms of the pace within which change is happening. And so change is happening. If you look at this slide, and if you can't see it, you may have to try to come over on this side. This is a slide that actually shows the number of years it took for each of these products to gain 50 million users. And if you start at the top left, it took 68 years for the airline industry to get 50 million users. You move across and you go to credit cards. Interestingly enough, I remember when credit cards were launched in the country, 28 years before we got 50 million people using credit cards. If you go to the bottom, yeah. Okay. I think it might need to come on. If you go to the, oh, well, I was kind of going to the slide, yeah. It's coming back? Oh, just have to what? Put it back on present? There it is. So if you go to the bottom, it took. Does anybody remember the iPod? Okay, good. It took 4 years for the iPod to have 50 million users, and it took 2 years. Look at that. Look at from 68 years for the airline industry to 2 years to get 50 million users on Twitter. Right. So what's causing it? What's causing the pace of change? The advancement of technology, precisely, right? And with the advancement of technology, then what does it do? What does the advancement of technology now present? It presents opportunities. It presents access. It presents the ability for us to do things or reach out to do things that we may have never had the opportunity to do before. And so I remember a story of, because I have entrepreneurial dreams from time to time as well, and I remember the story where I saw a great idea, and I was like, I want to develop this app, right? It was a fashion type thing. And I'm like, I need to find somebody to develop this app for me. So you go on the internet, I went on the internet, and I went into the marketplace where you can actually find different developers from around the world. Are you familiar with that? Have you ever seen that before? Where you can actually search and find different programmers and developers from around the world. And so I presented my idea I typed my idea in, and somebody came back and responded. And my question to them was, is it possible for you, do you have something like this? Is it possible for you to do this? Do you have something like this? Or do you know someone that may have something like this created? And what was interesting, they made one simple statement, and that simple statement was, if I don't have it, I can build anything that you want, right? And that, to me, that was amazing, that they can build anything that I want, which then, from that point on, when I thought about technology, I thought about the world of endless possibilities. And the fact that it was coming at a price point, because I could go global, it was coming at a price point that would have possibly been affordable, not just for me, but affordable for you as well, right? And so that's what technology has done. Technology has given access and has opened the doors for limited possibilities, as well as speeding up the changing environment. What do you see in this picture, and what do you not see? You see LeBron, right? What's missing? No driver. No driver. No driver. Take a look. No driver. It went? Oh, yeah, someone. Okay, there we go. Let's try again. Let me hit play on it from here and see. Okay. So no driver, right? Does that? Oh, okay. Is anyone familiar with the name Wuhan? Wuhan, China? Yeah. Yeah. Do you know that they actually have a robo-taxi service with no driver, no safety driver? That's been released, and that started last month, officially in Wuhan, China. So, no, right. So it seems far-fetched to us, right? But it's actually happening around the world. Every logo or brand that you see there, you know, right? Everyone. Tell me a little bit about Netflix. Documentaries, Netflix.
Blockbuster had acquired Netflix, they'd still be around.
They would still be around.
And Netflix started out as a mail CD in the.
You mailed them, exactly, exactly. You heard the name Blockbuster. Can anybody tell me what Blockbuster was? And video, exactly, right? So Netflix disrupted the industry, the streaming industry. But this is why, in terms of connecting this to leadership and the leadership capabilities, does anybody know what's happening to Netflix right now?
Netflix is receiving competition because
Right.
major corporations such as like Disney and all
There you go.
moving their own
Exactly.
streaming platforms, and so now
Right.
certain movies, like say if you wanted to watch, was it Avatar, the new Avatar movie that's coming out, they're
So Netflix is now feeling that reduction in subscriptions. They're seeing that reduction in stock prices because that competition has become fierce in the streaming industry, and the giants like Disney, as you mentioned, is catching up. So Netflix is actually starting to be disrupted. Why is that? They were the disruptors. They were the ones who were ahead of the game. So what does that tell you? Can you sit down and sit by and not continue to evolve? No, you always have to be on your A game. You always have to be looking for the next best thing, right? Let's talk about Amazon, right? Everybody knows who Amazon is. And do we know where Amazon started? Books, right? They moved to books. Can you list at least 3 things that Amazon is involved in right now?
electronics, home decor.
So let's lump that one as online, selling online, right? So Amazon is involved in e-commerce, retailing, right? Give me one other thing that Amazon does. What's it?
They also have their own
Streaming service, precisely. So they're in the streaming industry. They have their food store, precisely. Kindle, club service, fulfillment, right? They have something called web hosting as well. Do you know that probably everything that all of the servers and the information that you're storing is more than likely being stored through Amazon's web hosting service? They have one of the largest web hosting services in the world, right? Extremely reliable. What's Jeff Bezos doing? Who's Jeff Bezos? We know who he is, right? What is he doing? Something very prominent that he's out there doing. Right, right. So if you were to compare Netflix to Amazon, what is distinctly different in their strategy? Amazon, they say more productive. They're evolving. Right. They're constantly looking for what's next. They're evolving, they're adapting, they're adjusting to the change that's needed for one purpose, to remain relevant, right? To remain relevant for the future. And if you think about that slide that I provided earlier, and you look at how quickly and how rapidly change happens, they have to do that. They have to be global leaders, global companies and corporations. They don't think about the strategy for today and tomorrow. Usually, they're thinking about that 5-year strategy, and in most cases, 10-year strategies. So you may see me here, or you're here in the present, but when you're in a leadership role or in the corporate world, we're talking about what's happening in 2028, right? Or 2030. And that's because you have to be one step ahead in order to remain relevant. Airbnb, what did Airbnb do? Do you know what Airbnb is? You can go online like VRBO and you can book. Who did Airbnb disrupt? The hotel industry. Are they still disrupting them? Mm-hmm. They have a few scandals, but they're still disrupting them. I mean, the list is endless, right? Uber, all of those other ones. They're still disrupting them, and there's still a battle between Airbnb and the hotels and that disruption. But there's something else that's happening in the world of Airbnb that I'm not sure, and this is my opinion, I'm not sure that Airbnb is really paying attention to it. And there's a small disruption that's happening. And that small disruption is that you have individuals who've leveraged Airbnb and built their clientele through Airbnb, and they now, they're comfortable with the process and understand what it is to be a top host. And they are now actually looking for independence. And so they are breaking away with that same skill set and using that model to and cut out the fees, to independently set up their own online service. And so you have companies like online booking services. So you have companies like Booking Mood, very small, quietly slipping in and giving homeowners the opportunity to do it independently and do it themselves. Now, the question is, when will Airbnb realize? Will it be too late? Right? So always watching, always aware, it's always necessary to understand what's happening in your environment, what's happening in your market, because while you're there thinking you're disrupting somebody, the question is, who's there disrupting you? And you don't even know. Yeah? So we walk through that, right? So with that in mind and understanding those industries, what do you believe are some of the demands or capabilities required for business leaders today? Like, if you're, and I'm sure all of you are aspiring CEOs and executives, so picture for a moment you're at the top of the corporate house and you need to make sure that your company does not experience some of the challenges that either they, or the challenges that they imparted on some of the other ones that have now gone away, Blockbuster, Kodak, or the challenges they're currently facing today. What do you think are some of those demands or things that they now have to be thinking about?
I believe it requires a lot more flexibility to be able to keep up with your competitors, to make sure that you're not only keeping track of what's changing in the environment, also looking at what the other companies might be looking at in case they might get ahead of you so that you can do the same.
Right, so you kind of have to have in the front, in the back, on the side, you have to have your eyes all around. Okay, so good. Anything else? What else is going on with them? How many things is left to be invented? Go on.
Customer service, since everything's so competitive now.
Right.
So
Right.
when they come to you, it might feel as if your service isn't
Right.
top notch,
you know what's one of the greatest challenges with, and I'll go to the financial industry, is that a big company versus a small one, is that it's very easy to lose agility, right? And to really hear and understand the needs of your customers. Over the years, as the layers on a company grows and grows and grows, sometimes you're not close enough to truly know what it is that your customers are looking for or your next generation of customers are looking for. So you're spot on. That's a big factor, because if you are building something 14 stories up, but the persons who are on the ground floor have no interest in it, then you're going to kill your company in short order. So that's a huge one. So how do you keep close in order to deliver the customer service that we're talking about? That's a really good one. What about where I was going a little bit, which was, is there anything else left to invent? Yeah? Tell me something you're about to invent. Brand new, that's never been invented before. What are you going to invent? I mean, you may not want to give me that secret. But hypothetically, what are you going to invent that you've never invented before? Right? So go ahead. Oh, somebody's going to discuss their idea.
No offense to anybody in the room, but you ever dating someone and you ask them what they want to eat? They ain't know what they want to eat.
Uh-huh.
I think what it would be good is a system that has a logarithm of your favorite things and a show consistency of how often you eat them. So it would narrow down automatically during this time of month or this week. This is your options to pick.
So you're going to improve a tracking app. Right.
You know what you want to eat.
Right. So what I would say is there's something, but you're going to probably enhance it or do it differently or use an existing tool. What I'm curious about is, and especially the essentials, is there really anything that we need that's not already here? No. So when we think about innovation and when we think about having to face the demands of now and in the future, then we have to think about how we're looking at innovation as business leaders. And sometimes innovation is just making that 1 degree change, that simple change that makes a difference, that gives you a competitive advantage, right? Maybe it's just, making the soles on the inside of a pair of shoes softer and you float like a cloud versus the hard. I bought some luxury shoes before and they are hard as I don't know what, and I wish I could take them back, right? Hard lesson learned. You don't want them. You don't want them. Trust me, you don't want them, right? So it's about that, understanding that, you know what, as a business leader, I may not be able to create anything new, but I should be able to bring a team around me that will help me to innovate, right? And to help me to make sure that we stay ahead. The other thing that we have to think about, because sometimes in the changing environment, like I said, we're looking at the big guys and we're looking at, like I used the example of Airbnb where, they're looking at the big hotels. So they're like, okay, we are now competing with them or they don't like us, but there's a little small pockets of things happening. I think what we have to be mindful of as well is the fact that all of you have amazing ideas. All of you, I am sure that most of you who are in here, you have at least 1 to 2 things that you have a concept of and a business idea that, if you get the capital that you need or you save enough to build your own capital, eventually you're gonna develop it and you're going to create it, right? So there are billions of you doing that. And one day, you're gonna be another Zuckerberg or somebody else rising up and doing it, right? So competition is no longer isolated to just those with, quote unquote, the old money or the historic, like the family wealth to be able to do it. Competition is literally everywhere and you don't know who the next person is going to be, right? So this young lady is a little controversial, who I'm going to show you in the next video. No, not too controversial in the terms of some people like her, some people don't. I'll tell you what I liked about it after you watch the video. And I'll tell you how it ties in, or you tell me actually how it ties into what I just talked about regarding innovation, right? Let's take a look. I'm going to skip past this because these are just the face of basically who's on Forbes today, back to my original point, right? There was a time when you would have seen, I don't know if you know how they look, but like Rockefeller, right? Those faces, right? Not as colorful, maybe one-dimensional, right? But these are the faces of Forbes today. So let's take a look at Kylie's video on the left. She's on the right. And tell me what you got from this video. Is it the audio's gone? Yeah, audio's gone. Did we lose the audio? Yeah? Was working on the last one. Yeah. Technology is so amazing. You test everything. You literally test everything. And in that moment,
Now you're demonstrating my knees at UB.
no, not yet.
But
I mean, it was good because we heard the car.
You don't need the audio to see from the video there that the next thing is somebody scrolling your iPhone for you while you're having your nails done.
Yeah.
Right? So there you go. There's a new business there.
That's true. I don't even know if it's the connection as much as the speaker, because it was, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's back on, but I don't know if the. Yeah. It might be because it's coming through the TV now. Yeah, because it's on in the TV there.
Yeah, maybe
That's probably why.
let me not do it to the TV. Yeah?
I mean, if you do it to the TV and we can hear it, that's fine.
There's a volume button on the video.
Yeah, check that. Volume button is fine. Because it was working with the self thingum video.
Yeah. So maybe
That's something else. Yeah, because it was actually. Yeah, we could put the PowerPoint back out.
Don't want to check one thing.
One thing, and then we'll move on.
There you go. Yep. Try the speakers. I know they use charging. Just run out of speakers.
Yeah, I'm gonna have like about 3 more audios. Yeah, I think that might be what it is. Yeah, because it was working before at the TVs. Yeah, just the. It was fine, yeah.
Try that?
Sorry. Have to put it in presentation. Let's see. There we go. Well, it's playing on the. Okay. It's playing from the laptop and not the.
Is the microphone working? Just hold the microphone next to the laptop.
I don't think that. Yeah.
Okay, so let's try it again. Presentation mode.
I think if we turn the TV off, so it'll work. If they disconnect, because someone connected with the TV, I think.
Yeah.
Because it was working with the self-drive. So whoever did the magic of the connection of the TVs, if they could just disconnect that, that would be perfect. Oh, Lord, we're losing people now. No, that's fine. No, we'll play it by, yeah.
All right, let's try that again. And we're just gonna put. Okay.
Can you hear? Okay.
Let me.
To do on my own. What was I gonna do? I was passionate about makeup, but I didn't know I could have fun every day doing my job. I'm Kylie Jenner, and I am the founder of Kylie Cosmetics. I had insecurity with my lips when I was younger, so I turned to makeup to help me feel more confident. I went to the makeup store, and I didn't even know really what colors I was picking. I was just like, I want some lip liner that looks like the color of my lips because I just want my lips to look fuller. But I could never find a lip liner and a lipstick that matched or even the right color that was perfect for me. So that's where the lip kit started. I was so focused on like formula and color, but everything else just kind of fell into place. I put so much love into everything that I make, and I make sure everything is perfect and something I would personally use. So then when I see my fans have it and they love it and their reaction, that's what's the most exciting to me. Starting a company on my own and it being so big from the beginning, there's not a lot of room for mistakes. Every company has mistakes. They learn from them and they change them, but it's probably owning up to those from the beginning and just being honest and changing them in front of everybody. I'm the face to my brand, and I take responsibility for everything that happens. I haven't learned everything from my mom yet that I know that I need to. She teaches me something new every day about everything. She's my goals, and I'm just, each day I'm like trying to take it all in. She's definitely been a huge part of the success of Kylie Cosmetics. If I could give some advice, it's do something that you love. If you're building something from the ground up, like do something that you're passionate about. So you just have fun every day and you love what you do. I think I struggled for a minute
I think it just replayed.
with finding something to do.
All right, so let's talk about Kylie. So we were talking prior to that, we were talking about innovation, and we were talking about some of the things that we have to think about as business leaders, entrepreneurs, etc. So did anything stand out for you in this video? What?
Do on my own.
Yeah,
What was I
the
gonna do?
smoothest line. Got it? Okay, thanks. What stood out? What key factors did you hear from Kylie? Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it was something that she felt passionate about and owned. Okay, great. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. How much did Donald Trump's dad give him? Right. In comparison to what he acquired. Anything else stood out for you? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. So she had that support system. Okay.
I like that she's honest.
Mm-hmm.
She said honest to herself and she understood exactly what was going on around her.
Right.
She didn't make mention of the fact that every business has its problem. And then she did also say that
Right.
she had a little problems, but it didn't, deter her from what she was trying to do.
Right.
It didn't stop her
She
from doing it.
persevered. She was resilient.
She put herself first.
Right. She was passionate. She had a support system. Come right back to you. Good thing he was.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what she said, where she was saying that she was being honest, I think as she mentioned that she was the face of the brand,
Mm-hmm.
what she was saying was extremely important in terms of the honesty of every company has mistakes, and hiding it or making it worse isn't
Yeah.
going to be a great idea. So making sure that you can own up to it, especially publicly, you can let your customers know that you're somebody who can be trusted and your business is something that can be trusted. So you as the face of your brand, if you could bring that honesty and you could show them what they're going to get,
Yeah.
and the fact that you're going to be able to make up those mistakes and improve, I think that's extremely important for any business.
Yeah. It's authentic.
I have one.
Okay. Sure. Go ahead.
Right? It's okay. For example, like the statement where you said with Donald Trump's father giving him
Mm-hmm.
and to start a business.
Right.
Isn't he still considered a self-made billionaire? I don't know.
Hmm.
Because
I don't know.
from my
Maybe.
perspective,
Maybe not.
right,
Mm-hmm.
that's the same as me saying I take out a loan from a bank.
True.
I still take the same money and invest it in.
And you did something with it that grew.
And it grew.
Yeah. Yeah.
My efforts applied.
Yeah.
The money was borrowed. That's my opinion.
Very good point. I don't want to get too much into the self-made versus not self-made debate, but very good logic. We'll take one. Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the business aspects of Kylie, she basically had a following before,
Mm-hmm.
even with like Kanye,
Right.
even though controversial, but in terms of him with the Yeezys, Kanye already had a loyal fan base. Any person that once you have certain niches, once you have a established fan base or sector that's
Mm-hmm.
unique to you, and you have fans or people that want to emulate your swag, your style, what makes you you, once you produce a product, it'll sell out. That's why
Right.
when it came to influencers, when they were partnering with like Ulta and Sephora and Fenty and doing
Right.
that type of stuff, they generate money and they had a commission and stuff like that.
But she had the platform to get started. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll say something.
No, go ahead.
It was something that stood out to me when she made mention of it. She's like, this is her business and she takes full responsibility.
Yeah.
She understands her responsibility. She understands how it affects her. She
Mm-hmm.
understands how it affects other people.
Mhm.
And she also understands that if something was to go wrong, it's all on her.
Mhm.
And a lot of people who actually own businesses,
Mhm.
think about it and they wonder why sometimes it doesn't go as far. But people understand the responsibility
Yeah.
behind it. And so because she understands it,
Yeah.
she can drive forward with it.
Yeah.
True.
So I'll tell you a story, semi-personal story. And to tie to that point, it's not really a personal story, it's an RBC story. So a part of the bio that you heard read was that I'm the face of the brand, right? So to be honest, that's not always a good story, right? And so I don't know if you guys know, but if you do have accounts with RBC, there was a situation about 2 years ago, not 2 years, maybe about a year and a half. Andrew's going to correct me with the timeline, where we did not have $20 bills in our ATMs anymore, right? And so that kind of blew up, right? $20 bills, right, in our ATMs. Now, the reality is, whether the decision was made by me or not made by me, the reality is that's the decision that our company and our corporation made that we needed to stand by. And so literally every morning when I went into Starbucks, I was told, put the $20 back in the ATM. What are you doing? What are you guys doing? Put it back, put it back, put it back in the ATM machine. And while we may have had our own internal reasons, back to my point about understanding what the customer wants versus what we think they might want, while we may have had our own internal reasons, it was so overwhelming, right? We had to take ownership, responsibility for it, and we had to find a common ground. And so we placed them back in at least one of the ATMs in our branches, et cetera, right? So that's a real story of what you're talking about in terms of taking ownership for the brand. It doesn't matter who made the mistake, right? It could be the person who sharpens the pencil for you who made the mistake, but it's your responsibility because you own the company, and that's an important leadership trait that we have to carry. If you start casting blame, and no, it was this one, and no, it was that one, how does that look, right? How does that make you look as a leader? The last thing I'll say about Kylie that ties to innovation is, do you realize the simple thing that she did? Yes, she had a platform. So yes, she was able to kick her brand off a lot more quickly, and she had her followers and influence. But do you realize how simple? Yeah, what was the simple thing that she did?
It was something that she liked. Lip gloss to match her lips.
The lip liner to match her lip. Now, if you guys grew up in the time of my mommy, she used to wear the red lipstick with the black eyebrow pencil around the lip. So that's what I'm used to, contrasting. And then we evolved past that. And then I used to do it too. I take the lip line and you start to color with the lip liner and all of those other things, right? She realized that she needed those, and she was right. I could not find something that matched the exact color of the liner and the lipstick. And I don't know if she dreamt it up herself or she heard it in passing and all of these other, I don't know where she got the idea from, but it was a simple solution. That was innovation in today's environment. She didn't go and create lipstick, and she didn't create liners. She just matched the colors. And now she's a billionaire. All right? So that's how you have to think in today's environment as a leader. What's that small thing? What's that little thing that can be done? Now, I want to make up a little bit of time. Should I be making up a little bit of time? I want to make up a little bit of time. I don't know if you'll be able to see this other video. So what I want to do is just take a moment, because I think we're good to be here now, is to start to think about remember I spoke about, you can't boil the ocean. So let's start to think about 3 key capabilities around vision, self-awareness, adaptive capacity, right? We talked about vision in terms of thinking about your strategy, not just for today, but you need to think about it 5 years, 10 years down the road. You have to have that global mindset as well. And you have to say, this is where my company is now, but this is where I want it to be. If you start and stop with only wanting a bag shop today, then that's all you will have. But if you start with a bag shop and you want this perfume line and you want this whatever to complement those things, and you know that's where you're going to go, then you're going to set a vision and a course to get you there, and your decisions are going to be aligned with where you want to be, not where you are today, right? Then there's that self-awareness. I'm not going to give you away all of the answers for them, because I want you to do a little activity in your 1, 2, 3 groups. Some folks left, so I don't know what number is what number, but just look for somebody and pick a cluster of 3. And then adaptive capacity as well. And I want you to think for me, in your own words, I want you to take a minute, and you don't even have to do it in a group. You could just kind of jot it down. what do you think it means to have a vision? What do you think it means to be self-aware? What do you think it means to have adaptive capacity? All right? And don't overthink adaptive capacity. Like, try to define what does adaptive mean? What does capacity mean? Then put them together. Right? And then if you can, you don't have to, but if you can, give an example. If you can. I'll give you like, what? You don't need more than a minute or two, right? Cool. Ready? You got it? All right. All right, so let's start. Do we need to do vision? Vision's easy? Vision's easy. All right. Okay, let's start with self-awareness. Self-awareness. Let's take a minute. This is an important one. And let me tell you why it's important. When I was doing my studies, there was a course on global leadership. And this was one of the key things that I took away, that there are 3 core capabilities that you should always strive to have as a global leader. Just 3, right? One is IQ, right? So try to be intelligent and try to continue to always be continuously learning, reading, talking to people, listening to podcasts and audiobooks, so IQ, right? The other one is CQ, which is actually cultural intelligence, right? Because if you're going to be global, you can't go into some places being a bull in a china shop, right? You have to be respectful. You have to understand the culture. You have to understand the nuances associated with that. But you can't get to cultural intelligence until you also work on having what I think personally is the most important one, which is EQ, right? Which is emotional intelligence, right? And so self-awareness is one of the components of emotional intelligence. It's, in my opinion, again, the most important component of emotional intelligence, right? So you can be as smart as they come, and you can be as brilliant as you want to be, and you will be there with that brilliance, that ego, that arrogance, and get nowhere. If you do not pair that with emotional intelligence first and foremost, and then your emotional intelligence will activate the needed cultural intelligence, because you will know that you need to go into environments with cultural intelligence built. So taking you back to this bar of self-awareness as one of the first and most important components of emotional intelligence, tell me, what do you think self-awareness means? Go ahead. But I'll take both of you.
I think of it as simply where you are, like where you are currently, physically, mentally,
Right.
just
Knowing.
Yeah, where you are.
Yeah, knowing where you are, knowing who you are, knowing what. Let me not. Go ahead.
I mean, I kind of want to really jump into the give an example portion about the emotional intelligence, because I don't think the men don't really know, but I want to use the example of Victoria's Secret, how they basically demolished themselves as a brand, and a major company actually, because they
Right.
don't want to become exclusive and add more full-figured women to their
Right.
because they had a very important annual Victoria's Secret fashion show every year, and it was like a whole big thing.
Mhm.
Celebrities would go to perform, and the company just made a statement that we don't really cater to that market. We
Yeah.
just do thin and white, and that became, well, not really thin and white. Naomi Campbell did work for them, but she was like a token black model.
Mhm.
Long story short, but I'm saying that to say, like, their lack of emotional intelligence and lack of cultural interest
Yeah.
destroyed them, and now Rihanna's cornered that market with the Savage X Fenty show, and completely
Precisely.
taking everybody from their inclusive models of all genders,
Yeah.
sexualities, everything, and Victoria's Secret is trying
Yeah.
to come back now with that cultural.
Yeah.
But it's too late.
And I recognize that from in my 20s. I used to pass Victoria's Secret straight. I'm like, this ain't making no sense. No sense at all. So they've had that challenge for years. For years.
Though, because the original person who was in charge, he strict, conservative, white,
Yeah.
But now, because of the changing of ownership now, because of
They're
that,
becoming,
they want to become now inclusive, but that's
so the company themselves, they're becoming self-aware, right? So that means the leaders must be self-aware. And they're actually, your example is leading into how they're now adapting, actually, right? But yeah, good. So any other thoughts on self-awareness? And what it means?
Self-awareness is basically just knowing what you have and what you lack. So what you're good at, you should keep in mind and enhance.
Yeah.
And what you're lacking, you should find a way to cover it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I were to also, so that's definitely for sure from a competency perspective, also from an emotional perspective, know what triggers you and know what doesn't. And when you understand that, and when you understand what triggers you, you're then empowered to know how to control it, right? So if somebody speaks to you in a certain way and you know that's going to get under your skin, and you already know that, you have the advantage. You have the mind set to be able, because I know this is going to work on my nerve, I'm going to control that, right? And that is as simple as, well, I'll give you the proper definition, but it's almost as simple as that. But it's easier said than done. Much, much easier said than done. I had a boss that said to me when I managed some loan officers, and in stressful times, you could see everything that I was thinking on my face, right? Even when he was talking to me and I didn't like it, you could tell from the emotion or the whatever I was doing with my face. And he said it to me, and he called it out, which I appreciate till this day. He called it out. He said, everything that you're thinking is on your face. And it took me years to work on that. You have to work on it, because that's not where I wanted to be, and it wouldn't help me to be where I wanted to get to, where I wanted to go. So adaptive capacity. What's adaptive capacity?
The ability to adapt, mind over matter.
Yes.
No matter what's going on at any given point in time, you have to be able to control your emotion. Sometimes you want to respond, but then it's just best to just take a step back and
Yeah.
monitor the situation and let it play out.
Yeah. Good. Give me some more synonyms for adaptive. Flexible. Agility. Yep. You were going to say something? You have a bigger word? It don't have to be a big, it could be 4 letters in this class. Right? So let me give you the definition as it's written. Like we spoke about a vision. So as a leader, you have to be goal-oriented and desired results. Now, I can tell you I've met a lot of good talkers in my recruitment days, and I want to encourage all of you not to be that only, right? Because after the talking comes the absolute need for the execution, or you will get nowhere. You will be round and round and round like the hamster on the wheel with your career. So it's very important to understand that when you have that goal and you know where you want to go, then you're going to have to be able to push towards that. So the other way of saying that is you have to really be results focused as well. Self-awareness is a person's understanding of their own values and their goals. So you know who you are, you know where you're going, and a self-aware person will, listen to this, turn down a job offer if it doesn't fit within their principles or long-term goals, so you know what and who you are as a person. And so one of the questions, tip, for those of you who may choose to apply to RBC one day, if you're interested, is if you end up in an interview with myself, I would ask you, do you have any questions for us at this time after we've gone through those questions? And one you might consider asking is, what are your company's values? Because you want to make sure those values are aligned to your values. So you actually need to flip the switch. We interviewed you, now you need to interview us. Because employment is a two-way agreement, right? And I found it so impressive when someone does that, because then they truly understand that their values mean something in the whole deal. And if you want to know our values, we have 3 of them on the back wall. The 4th one is coming, right? Or something. All right. So that's self-awareness, and then we have adaptive capacity, right? And so it says they're the social and sometimes technical skills that one builds to respond appropriately to changing circumstances. 2 elements of adaptive capacity is resilience and a spirit of optimism. Basically, you got to keep bouncing back. That's how you adapt. And when things go wrong, you have to still always move with hope. You got to say, we can get over this, we can get it done. The last story I'll tell you, then we'll go, is because I don't like planes. And so I have a good friend who had a friend who was a Bahamas Air pilot. And they said, when the plane gets rocky, right, why don't you guys come on the air and, talk to us a little bit, and let us know that everything is okay. This Bahamas Air now. Bahamians don't want to die. So she said, the pilot told us, because we scared too. And if we come talking to you all scared on that plane, everybody can panic because you can hear my voice cracking. So the best thing to do is just to stay focused. Keep that spirit of optimism that plane can land and don't get distracted. Okay? So, all right. So I will take you to, and you can always have this as a takeaway because I won't go through all of these, but these were all, 8 other leadership principles that I think would be nice for you to think about and reflect on. You do have this deck. And then I just wanted to leave you with, hopefully you have some takeaways. Good. I want to leave you with a video, last video, I promise. I'll leave you with a video, and I think that there's some lovely quotes at the end of the video. So watch it to the end, and hopefully it inspires you. And then do we still have time for questions? Or, yeah? Okay, a couple questions? All right. So I will go. Now I just click on it, right? Yes. Yes, it will. It does have volume. That's interesting. Yeah, it should have some music. Yeah, it has volume. Should have volume. Okay. All right. Well, while we fix that, we can open for a couple of questions, and then we can probably end with the video. Okay. Any questions? Or did we get through all of them together? Yeah? Good as gold? Good. Let's watch the video. How quickly you want me to do that?
Obstacles.
Oh boy.
Situations.
Sure.
A bit of a different time.
Yes.
Than it is now.
Yes.
But there's still a lot of old principles that we can take on.
Oh Lord, all the principles. Core principles. All the principles. All the principles.
Because, if you're so lucky in this life,
You don't even start enjoying life until 40.
Okay. I'll keep that.
No, that's good. No, I'll try to truncate it really, really easily. So, really quickly. So, I started on an island actually, in Abaco, and really just needed a job, right? Wanted to be a lawyer, got accepted into my A-levels. Finances didn't allow me to go immediately, so I'm going to go into banking work. And so when I got there, I saw a world of opportunities. I just didn't know that you could have so many different career choices in banking. Sometimes you just think you're only dealing with money. But in banking, and especially even in today's environment, if you are interested in computer programming, marketing, communications, so many different things, compliance, all of those other things, technology, it's so many different facets. So when I got in, I was like, oh, okay, I can actually be passionate about this, and so I did that. Then I looked around and I'm like, okay, everybody here is not going anywhere. They're comfortable, they're settled, they're going to stay in Abaco, so I need to go. Because either one thing is going to happen. They're going to determine, I'm going to have to wait for them to get fired or die, because they ain't moving. Don't be complacent. So I came into Nassau. And I was actually discouraged by my manager. They said, oh, you're going into Nassau, and you're going to, compete with all of these people who are in Nassau now. You're going to fall back to the... And I'm like, I will do it. They do. They do. They do. Right. Exactly. And so that's something you have to have inside of you as well, right? You have to have that confidence in yourself. I won't go back too far, but I came from my mom. And I'm like, okay, you might think that, but it actually encouraged me to do it. And so I came and I did it. And everything has its strengths and its weaknesses. The pace in Nassau was very fast. And I felt like I was just running fast, right? But what I had the ability to know more because I touched more. And I did more in that environment. So from that, I kind of stood out because of that and just took opportunities as they came, right? And I strategized, honestly, because as a teller, I'm like, okay, so how did this person get to this, right? How did this person become a branch manager? Honestly, my ultimate goal was a branch manager. Everything else is gravy. Like, I still don't know how I got here, honestly. Trust me, some bad days I ask myself that question. But yeah, I just wanted to be a branch manager. I actually cried when I thought I wasn't going to get a branch manager job. So my whole strategy was to be that. And I just looked, I said, okay, I can never be a branch manager if I don't tackle loans. And people are afraid to get into loans sometimes. And I'm going to get into loans. I'm going to learn loans. And so I used to go in my personal time and sit with the loan team. I was actually told, to your point of obstacles, we got to run it? Okay, I tell you it's a long story. We talk for all day. But I was actually told by a male at that time, back in those days, they actually hired a young man who was a teller. I was already there for 4 years, and they said, we have to bring this man into loans. We can't bring you because your husband is going to call you home, and he's going to get upset when you have to work late hours, and you have to take care of the children and all of those other things, so we prefer to put men into loans. I was literally told that in that time and an environment. And that was just another, all right, I can show you, right? Yes. Good.
Let's see.
All right. There we go.
about that. Okay, I just wanted to say thank you all for coming. I'd like to thank Deidre Moss for our prayer. I'd like to thank Anthony Quinson, LaSonia Mizik, and all of our special guests. I would also welcome you to have lunch with us down in Choices. Apologies, President Roland had to leave early. I know a lot of you are very busy people, very busy schedules, including myself. So thank you all, and we appreciate your inspiring words. And I hope that it takes all of us from not just today, but years on to our journey. And we thank you once again.